The DOJ's meticulous and selective release of Epstein documents is under scrutiny. Despite the passing of a bill mandating the DOJ to release all Epstein documents to the public by December 19th, Pam Bondi and her team failed to meet the deadline and have not released the complete files. No matter how hard the Department of Justice tries, it cannot remove Trump's name from one of the biggest scandals in American presidential history. Yet, it seems to be trying its best to minimize the impression of Trump's involvement in the Epstein files. Evidence? In the set of documents released on December 19th, Trump's photo is barely visible or mentioned, while the files prominently feature Bill Clinton, Ghislaine Maxwell, Michael Jackson, Bill Gates, and other well-known figures connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Amid the DOJ's best efforts to shield Trump, Hunter Biden dropped explosive claims that could brew another political storm in U.S. politics. Hunter alleged that Trump and Epstein were thick as thieves and accused Trump of abusing teenage models. In a 5-hour interview with Shawn Ryan, Hunter Biden tore into Donald Trump, calling him a sociopath. Hunter Biden also slammed President Trump in a wide-ranging 5-hour interview with pro-Trump podcaster Shawn Ryan, alleging disturbing ties to Jeffrey Epstein. He claimed Trump and Epstein were thick as thieves and highlighted Trump's controversial past comments about young girls. Biden criticized Trump's refusal to release Epstein-related files, accusing him of acting purely out of self-interest. The interview paints a shocking picture of Trump's alleged behavior and his connection to Epstein, potentially stirring yet another political clash between the Bidens and Trumps.
I don't even know at this point, and I really mean it. It's like, I will tell you is that the only thing that is clear to me is this. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, during a period of his life, were thick as thieves, and Donald Trump has tried to pass this off as being what Palm Beach was in the 90s, okay? And that may be his view of it. But I've seen enough evidence of Donald Trump and his team modeling agencies and what he said on Howard Stern about how he would go into the back of these, Miss Teen USA pageants and, woke up to the girls naked. They're talking about girls when he's talking about doing that, and wonder whether or not Donald Trump, in his mind, has come up with this concoction that it was all just what they did in the 90s. It was models. I mean, that's what Michael Wolff says. Michael Wolff says that the justification in Trump's mind is that they were models. Wow, 14, 15 years old. I mean, we have a president who has been credibly accused by well over 12 women, if not more, of sexual assault. And we're wondering whether or not, as he fights tooth and nail for the Epstein files that all of his supporters demanded be released so that they could nail Bill Clinton to a cross. And he won't release him. Why? Out of the kindness of his heart for the people that make it hurt. Have you ever known the president to act out of anything but his own self-interest? Ever? And so we're sitting here and acting as if, okay, I'm willing to believe that people can vote for him and support him and overlook the personal cruelty of his politics. Because, by the way, according to everybody, Donald Trump is an incredibly charming person in person. He really supposedly is. He is. I know that I think he told my dad when he came to the White House. He's like, Joe, we would have been best of friends if it weren't for politics. And so I don't know what kind of sociopathic mind is able to do those things. And then the next day say that Joe Biden is the worst human being to have ever lived and a corrupt, senile, criminal.
Trump and Epstein, two names dominating current U.S. political discourse, were reportedly close associates for years, according to The Times. The big question now, was Trump an accomplice in Epstein's sick and perverted acts of child abuse? Speculation and allegations continue to swirl. Some claims even suggest Epstein introduced Melania to her future husband, Donald Trump. This sensational claim was made by Hunter Biden, the son of former President Joe Biden. In an extensive August 2025 interview with filmmaker Andrew Callahan, Hunter asserted that unreleased documents connected to Epstein could potentially implicate President Trump. He said, Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. The connections are so wide and deep. When Melania demanded an apology and threatened a $1 billion lawsuit over the claim, Hunter dismissed the drama, bluntly saying, "F that, that's not going to happen." However, as the DOJ releases 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, with a disclaimer stating, some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump. It will be interesting to see whether Hunter Biden's claims align with the information in the newly released Epstein files. Earlier, US President Trump said he doesn't like that photos of Bill Clinton are being released from the Jeffrey Epstein files, calling the move terrible. Trump claimed Democrats, with help from a couple of bad Republicans, are pushing the releases as a political distraction.
Were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full...
What?
And were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full release by the end of the year? Some of the victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they're giving their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly. But he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton was a friend of his. But everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, and as a person that was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. Mar-a-Lago, this is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's the hottest place in Florida. And everybody would come here. He'd come here. We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago, and they're, highly respected bankers and lawyers and others, and they'll end up, because of guys like Massey, who's a real lowlife, whose polls are down to about 9%, by the way, in the great state of Kentucky. If you look at Kentucky, Kentucky is such a great place, but I don't know, they've got a couple of people in there that are very strange in terms of leadership, but Massey's a loser, and he likes it, and that he works with the Democrats. He's just being used by the Democrats, because what this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. Like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents, and there is tremendous backlash. It's an interesting question, because a lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party, and you ruin the reputation of somebody. So a lot of people are very angry that this continues. A lot of Republicans are angry because of the fact that it's just used to deflect against a tremendous success. Look, we have $18 trillion coming into our country. We have, I believe, we're going to have the most successful economy in history. We inherited a mess. Now prices are coming way down. Gasoline is less than $2 in some states, $1.99, $1.97, $1.95 a gallon. $1.95. Think of that. A gallon. Nobody ever thought they'd see that. They don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Epstein. And the problem is a lot of Democrats are being caught up in the web, like Larry Summers. Larry Summers was the head of Harvard. He's now been forced to resign from every board he's on, and he was thrown off the Harvard board. He was at Epstein's Island a lot. I wasn't. I never went there, by the way. But fortunately, it's nice. But I never went there. But a lot of people did go there.